Back in my school year, I have that one subject in school that I just cannot stand, which made it hard for me to really enjoy the whole learning process. And of course, that subject made my mind drift away every time the class moved on to that subject. I used to dislike mathematics and English subject back in my school day. Here's why. Every time it came to that subject, I struggled to complete nearly every assignment given. I hardly ever submit my exercise book to my teacher, and as a result, most of its pages left without the correction and the mark from the teacher. And looking at my exercise book filled with unchecked pages after pages only discouraged me further to even open it. But until one day, I actually finally finished my first English assignment that given to me. After all the pressure I endure from pushing myself to complete the assignment given, I finally finished it. I get up from my table and submit my English workbook to my teacher and went back to my seat. Starting from that moment, I noticed something that actually definitely helped me to eventually slowly start to enjoy the subject that I used to hate before. But here is the truth. It is not the subject that is boring. Sometimes it is the way we look at the subject. And today's video, I will going to share to you all a few simple secrets that could actually give huge impact on turning your boring and uninteresting subject into something that enjoyable and interesting. And here is the secret that I used to practice back in my school years, and I'm going to share it with you guys in today's video. The first one is organize your book. The first simple secret to actually enjoy a difficult and boring subject is to organize your book well. I know it sounds simple, but it will definitely make a huge difference. So just think about it. When your book are all over the place, paper wrinkle everywhere, and your notes are missing, your brain will automatically start to stress before even start your studying. This is psychologically because the messy stuff make you lazier to open your book. That's why so many students feel unmotivated because there was so many energy just to figuring out where to start. Like, oh, my book was so messy, or should I finish my assignment first? Or maybe, where do I keep my notes? So you will be just wandering around, figuring out, stressing yourself where to start first. And finally, you lose your interest and motivation to start your study. But when you take a little bit time to organize your book well, whether by subject, by chapter, or even by using color codes, you immediately create a sense of order. Because psychologically, when you see things arranged neatly, your minds feel lighter, more relaxed, and more ready to focus. For example, if you're studying mathematics, put your textbook, your notebook, and your exercise book all in one place. Highlight every important section with colorful highlighters so that every time you open your book, you know exactly where to focus. If you follow this, there will be no time wasted for searching stuff, no stress, just straight into studying. I practiced this during my school years, and I guarantee that this could definitely work. Because once I create an organized environment, I basically trick my brain into thinking that, oh, this is manageable. And when things feel manageable, I naturally start to enjoy learning them. The second secret to enjoy difficult and boring subject is to challenge yourself. Most of the time, we feel bored not because the subject was impossible, but because it feels too routine. You read, you memorize, you repeat. No excitement, no spark, and no fun. But when you turn it into a challenge, your brain will start to see it differently, that it's no longer a studying. It becomes a game. Start with small realistic goal. For example, tell yourself, I'm going to finish this chapter in 30 minutes. Or I will solve 10 questions without looking at my notes. This trick psychologically trick your brain to start studying because you convince it that there is something to aim for. And when you hit that goal, you will feel proud. Even if it is just a small step, but the feeling of achievement is what keep you going. You can also make it fun by giving yourself a little reward every time you finish a challenge. For example, after solving 20 mathematic problems, give yourself a 10-minute scroll on TikTok. Or after memorizing one chapter of history, give yourself a treat with favorite snack. This reward train your brain to connect studying with something positive instead of something you hate. And remember, challenges don't always have to be in academic. You can also compete with your own discipline, like I will study for 25 minutes straight without touching my phone. It might sound simple, but when you practice this every day, you will accomplish because that discipline itself becomes a win. At the end of the day, the goal is not just to survive in studying, but enjoying the process of outsmarting yourself, proving that you can do more than you thought. Once you see the progress, even in the subject that you used to hate, you will start to feel like, wow, I can actually do this. And that's when the subject stop being boring and start feeling rewarding. Okay, move on to the third one. The third one is teach what you learn. A difficult and boring subject can be much more enjoyable to learn when you practice teach what you learn. At first, it might sound weird because you're the one still learning, so how can you teach? But actually, this is one of the best methods to make any subject feel more interesting. Here is why. When you explain something to someone else, your brain is forced to process the information in a deeper way because it is not enough to just memorize. You have to understand it clearly enough to put it into your own words. This process makes the knowledge stick longer and feel more alive in your brain. For example, if you're studying science, try to explain it to your friend after that. If you can explain it well in a simple words, that means you truly understand what you have learned. But if you stuck while teaching, you don't have to stress about it because it's actually good and it shows which part you have to relearn and which part you have to understand more. It is actually like a self-check system. Another good thing that you can develop by applying this trick is it can build your confidence. When you realize you can explain something to others, it makes you feel smart, capable, and proud of yourself. That sense of confidence is very powerful. It transforms a subject that you once thought was boring and uninteresting into something that is more enjoyable for you to master. So don't just keep what you study to yourself, share it with your friends, and use it as a tool for you to grow. And here is the fourth. Use creative tools. Now let us be honest. Bringing creativity into your study routine can make it becomes much more fun and engaging because by adding a bit color on your notebook can make you feel better rather than staring at a plain textbook or notebook for hours that feels like a torture. So instead of just writing a plain note, try using a colorful highlighters or a sticky note or even a doodles because visual elements make your brain get more active and help you remember things faster. Use a colorful highlighter to highlight your point on notebook so that every time you open your note, your eyes can quickly spot a key point on your notes. And of course, it saves your time so that your brain can get to work more effectively. Using diagram and mind maps on your studying is also very creative. By practicing this tool, you can just draw a timeline or a flow chart of the topic that you're learning and put every point and explanation in it so that it can make you easier to organize and clearer to understand. Instead of thinking that studying has to be dry and serious, think of it as an art project. Make your notes beautiful, make your learning playful, and watch how fast your motivation grows. And here is the fifth. Study with a smart friends. Let me tell you, your environment shape your mindset. It shape your motivation and it shape your discipline. If you put yourself around friends who is procrastinate, lazy, playing all the time, telling you stupid jokes, or giving unnecessary drama all the time, you are slowly becoming one of them. So be smart, be vigilant of who you are making friends with, and please surround yourself with a friends who is motivated, curious, and smart because their positive energy will rub off on you. It is also about accountability. If you agree to study with your friend, you are less likely to skip or procrastinate because your positive friends will push you, remind you, and help you to keep on track. You can also build a healthy competition with them. A healthy competition will pulls you higher, you learn faster, you get motivated more, and the difficult subject suddenly feels like a team effort instead of a lonely struggle. So it is very important for you to get yourself involved with a friend who is motivated, curious, and smart so that you can challenge yourself to study better. Because when you are in the right group, even the hardest subject and the boring subject ever, it will eventually feel exciting and rewarding. And this is the last one. Ask question. The reason why you feel bored every time it came to that one subject that you used to hate is because you only sit down, read, and memorize information. How if you turn a passive routine into an active one? If you don't understand a mathematic formula given, please do not afraid or shy to ask your teacher. Ask a question like, why do we use this formula? Or how can I master this formula? That simple question can turn a confusing formula into something more practical. Every time you raise your hand, you open the door to new insights. Teacher actually love students who ask. So don't be afraid or shy to ask your teacher. Psychologically, the brain remember answer to question much more better than a plain facts. That's why when you ask question whether to your teacher, to your friends, or even to yourself, your brain automatically becomes active. The psychologists call this the question behavior effects. It means the moment you ask, your brain starts searching for the answer and lock it into a memory. So this is all 6 simple secrets that I used to practice back in my high school years. It might be simple, but trust me, it could give a huge impact on your studying process. Solve a difficult and boring subject don't have to stay boring forever. With the right mindset and strategy, like organizing your books well, challenging yourself using creative tools, asking questions, teach what you learn, and study with smart friends, you can actually turn them into something enjoyable. At the end of the day, it's all about effort, motivation, and consistency. If you train your brain to see every subject as a challenge to be mastered, you will not just enjoy the process, you will master it faster than you think. So that's all for today's video. If you get something from it, please give it a like or share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and turn on the notification so that every time I upload a video you will get notified. And thank you so much for watching this video. See you in the next video. Bye.